We're here to talk about the Thousand Islands Event Center, a proposed project that'll happen in the town of Watertown. It's an $85 million facility, and the square footage about 520,000 square feet. The gentlemen I'm here with are sort of the investors, the people behind the scenes trying to get this to happen, and we're here to talk more about the project itself, where it is, and why they think it could work here in Watertown. I have David McLeika with us. He is with Venue Strategies. Mike Sherman is the founder and chairman of MS2. That's Mike Sherman Sports. And then we have Bill Collette as well. He's president of MS2, Mike Sherman Sports. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us for a conversation.
Pleasure. Thanks for having us.
I guess my first question is, this has come a long way, from where it originally started with an idea from the town of Watertown supervisor Joel Bartlett's been wanting to get this done for a while. Many years have passed. What has changed, or why do you think this could work here in Watertown? And perhaps, Coach, I'll start with you, just because you're the one that would be helping to fill it with the different recreational and sporting events that would happen. So why could this area support that size of a facility?
Well, first of all, as you said, Joel's been a big part of this thing. It's been about 10 to 12 years he's been pushing this project, and we had a chance to come up here to Watertown a couple times and evaluate it. And we see a community that needs to be serviced, and we see a community that is calling for this type of facility. It's a vacation destination venue where parents go on vacation, that have the ability to drop their kids off at one of our camps that we'll be running during the summer months. We are a four-season facility, however, but during the summer, we really want to capitalize on camps, clinics, tournaments, and main events. And so we feel like there's definitely an audience for that that we can take from down south up here. Tourism down south isn't what it used to be because of some of the complexities that have happened down in New York City, and people are starting to head north. Recent article in the local paper, I believe, said just that the tourism is up, and it's going to continue to go up when we build this project.
Bill, when it comes to having this kind of facility, what would be inside? What kind of sporting venues would be inside this thing?
We would have everything from your mainline sports, your basketballs, your footballs, your soccers, your volleyballs, to non-sports. So we would take advantage of things like drama for kids. Coach is very big on, this what screams at you in a facility such as this is first the athletic side of things. But what Coach will tell you, and a big underpinning of our foundation, is it's also got a scholastic approach. So basically programs from young to old. The olden methodology of dropping your child off at practice and run to the grocery store. Our vision and our model is, no, we want the families to come in and enjoy the facility as a whole. So mom or dad can go to the gym. The other parent can go to the business center and do their conference call or catch up on email. We've got a daycare facility where you can drop the younger children off. Jimmy or Sarah finishes their practice. Now you get the family together, you go upstairs and you eat in the restaurant. So it turns into a 3-hour encapsulation within the building, and climbing walls and all sorts of features that address all ages and all athletic abilities. So that's a large component, but we'll also have programming for seniors, mahjong tournaments and things along those lines. We've got a book of everything is what we call it, and we took literally probably 12 to 15 months to collaborate this. It's about 8 inches thick, and it's an A to Z programming guide of all the different things that we can utilize and set up within our building. Now, that's one facet. The other facet is, what does the community already have? What is really already going on in here in Watertown that either we can help elevate, or we can bring into our fold, or go to their venue and see how we can support and feed off of each other. A lot of this, when you see a building of this magnitude or a project like this, a lot of people get provincial and say, oh, well, this is going to come in and affect us in a negative way. Our motto, our vision is no, and I've used this terminology and I kind of get sick of saying it, but it's very true. We want to be an A1 addition to the community. We want to be an add-on. We're not trying or attempting to cannibalize anything. So we have our model, we have our vision under the MS2 umbrella, but also how do we incorporate ourselves and pair up with the folks in the community and the things that are already going on there. It's the old saying, all boats rise with the tide type of situation.
Yeah, so I mean, you'd be talking about a couple of things here locally in the city. You have a new municipal arena, the ice arena that's there. So you're talking about that asset to the community, that you're not looking to compete there. And then the YMCA, the big $30 million downtown facility that's going to open here in December. Again, you're looking to complement that, not compete.
Exactly right. And I'll give you one example. Early on in this project, we had an aquatics component. We had heard rumblings that the Y was going down that avenue and taking that approach. So immediately, we recoiled amongst ourselves and said, okay, we don't want to come in and be doing that. So we immediately removed that aquatics component from our offering just for that very reason, to show good faith. And we're not trying to step on anything that's in existence. So where are those correlations and where are those synergies? We have ideas, but we need to, as this gets further down the line, we need to sit down with those groups and really start to invest ourselves in conversation and dialogue to get those, maximize those.
And did I understand correctly that in the project, as you talk about the different sporting events, that there may be something else for the parents to do? You were describing maybe going to the gym or going for something to eat. Is that all in this facility?
Yes, that is correct. I mean, we will have everything from a business center, fully functional business center, to a gym, multifaceted gym. Now the gym's going to have multiple layers to it. We will have Division I or professional athletic type training, but we will also have a gym component where mom, dad, son or daughter can go in and get a workout in. So we'll have a health club type atmosphere. There will be other amenities that we're working on that, such as, and again, this is a hypothetical, but maybe there'll be a hair salon component or a barbershop component, up to and including a restaurant. So you can go up and get dinner. What we would like to do at the end of the day is host the local team, the baseball game. There's a baseball game, we maybe do a podcast from the restaurant before the game, or a tailgate type of thing within the building, and then get a crowd over to the game. So different outside of the box activities like that to bring the community together and maximize the people that are going through the building.
The one thing, Jeff, I just want to say is, we want to be inclusive as we come up here to this great community. And Billy mentioned it briefly, but one thing that's very important to me is the fact that I just don't want a bunch of athletes coming into the facility, and that's what this facility is. My daughter, my fifth child, was not an athlete. She was an artist. And I want her to have a home within the facility and feel comfortable and develop relationships, which is ultimately, if we can get people to develop relationships amongst each other, we don't have the problems we have in today's world. So there's going to be different things. Billy mentioned a couple things, but like a STEM program, science, technology, engineering, and math. A STEM workshop in the summertime. And there's a STEAM program called Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, and Math. And so we want, and there's other things. There's esports, there's chess clubs. There's just put our arms around it. It's definitely inclusive of everybody, whether it's the athlete, the non-athlete, whether it's the senior, the parent, the child, the college athlete, and possibly a professional athlete will come and train.
David, you're not off the hook. Let's talk money. Let's
Fire
talk
away.
about the money side of this. Dave McLeika with Venue Strategies. As we talked about before we started recording, you're the one to help build it. They are the ones to help fill it with the activities. So building at $85 million, where are you right now with that funding?
Well, the biggest component, the driver, will be state assistance. And we're in discussions with various local government officials, state officials, about getting that assistance. Right now we have it set somewhere around $20 million. That may change as the project cost changes, because as we sit here and wait to begin construction costs change as well. But we're working in that realm. There'd be about $28 million of private investment, which is a significant number. I mean, that's $28 million coming into the community to build something extraordinary. I don't know how often that happens in the North Country, but I would think in most communities that's a significant thing. So we're hoping that the case is made for the state to support us that way. We've been lucky so far to have buy-in, if you will, or support from all of the local legislators at the state level, and local legislators at the local level as well. So we feel confident about it. That said, there's also going to be a private bond that will be floated for this project. But without the other two components, the bond can't be sold. So it all has to come together.
That's the final piece of it then. I'm seeing the $20 million of state assistance is that rough number.
Right.
28 million private invested, and then the rest
About
of it
37 as a
would be
as a bond.
bonded.
Yeah, as a bond.
And I guess for someone that may not know what that means, what is a bond? Very simply, what does it mean?
It's a debt
taking debt out and
It's
paying
a
it
debt
back.
instrument, right?
Yeah.
It's a debt instrument. It's a taxable bond. So in other words, it's not a municipal bond. It's not a county bond. It's not backed by local tax revenue. So it's not a local taxpayer obligation.
And who pays it back? Because the facility makes money? Yeah. So
the
I mean,
facility has to pay it back.
that's also a commitment there then. I mean, talk about private money. I mean, state money, yes, it's going to be important. Private money, you're putting
That's
money
right.
where your mouth is. But then if you do a bond, I think that shows that perhaps the people behind it, the project, believe in it even further.
That's exactly right. I mean, when you look at it that way, you're basically saying that $65 million of private money is coming into the project because those are private sources.
Yeah, just not all of it is up front. You bond out for some of
For
it.
right.
What is your resume with building these sort of facilities or being involved with these? Because you have success stories, right?
Yeah, this type of product is fairly new. It's been, I'd say about the last 6-7 years where there's been a real pickup around the country in communities wanting to undertake projects like this. Most people are familiar with arenas and stadiums, large scale operations. They're familiar with health clubs, so they're familiar with going into their gym every night and working out. This kind of facility is what we call a multi-purpose event center. And as such, communities were taking their own initiatives to build them. But for the most part, they're expensive. And so what MS2 saw, in conjunction with its partner, which is a very well-known entity in the sports and entertainment facility world, Oakview Group. They're out of Los Angeles. They're the largest facility builder of this type in the world. So 2 new projects have recently come online. The one that I think is worth noting is the one out in Palm Springs, California, which is very similar to this. It's it's actually going to be just a little bit larger, but it serves a broad market that's very similar to this as well.
So, Coach, how did Joel Bartlett get your attention? How did you guys become involved in something here in the Watertown, Thousand Islands region?
Well, it was through David from Joel that got my attention that this might be an area that we want to come in and investigate and see if the numbers work. I mean, David has to do all the feasibility studies with his company to make sure that we're investing in the right direction, and the numbers came up very well, and we feel very confident about this. And let me just say one other thing. I mean, and I know that David will mention this eventually, but as far as the state it is an investment. It's not a gift, because after a 5-year period, the state should be able to capture close to $142 million. And so on a 5-year stint, the state's going to get that type of money back in its pocket. So it is an investment for them. It's not a gift. It's truly they're going to get money back.
How
Yeah.
so? Is it sales tax? Is
Well,
it that kind of revenue?
Yeah, let's just clarify that, because that's
Sure.
a big number. The 142.5 is what's known as direct spending. In other words, that's money coming into the economy that isn't already here. It's not money that should be in exchange between one business or one homeowner and another. It is incremental coming into the market that otherwise isn't here. That's a significant thing.
So it's people coming in, buying gas, going to the restaurants.
Staying in hotels.
Staying in hotels.
Doing whatever they do. They want to take a ride up to Clayton. They spend the day, or they go, to see all the sites that are in this marketplace. But that measurement is within a radius that is what we call the Watertown metro area. So we're not talking about people riding up to Ogdensburg and including that number. This is what we're considering to be the local area spend. Of that, about 12 million, this is over 5 years, by the way. This isn't the first year. This takes time to ramp up. The facility has to get its sea legs underneath it. But by the end of the 5th year, we should be generating somewhere around 12 million a year in taxes to the various constituencies. That's an all-in number, which includes your hotel tax and your local sales tax component.
Right, so that's where you're saying that if the 20 million came in from New York State, not a gift, investment, because it would pay over time, they're making that money back in taxes, revenues for the community and for the state.
That's right. The state often, as most states do, they employ a multiplier. They want to know, what's our bang for the buck, so to speak. If we invest X, how likely is it we're going to get a return back in direct spend and then tax taxable proceeds that we can use, and that's usually 4 to 5 to 1, and we're in that bar.
Oftentimes with projects like this, and I'd like to know on this one, the developers ask for a pilot payment in lieu of taxes. Anything with that on this that you're going to be approaching?
Yeah, that is something that's on the table. That's right. The ownership model for this is a little bit in flux because the discussion with the LDC is one that we're taking a look at different alternatives for whether the LDC, that's the Thousand Islands Local Development Corporation, they actually have control of the site. Would they own the site and then lease the property back to MS2, or would MS2 actually acquire and operate the entire facility on a ground lease basis, if you will? We haven't determined that yet because we don't know what the overall financial structure is. There are certain advantages to either approach. So we'll determine that as we go forward.
The land donated by Mike Lundy is about $3 million, I think. I'm looking over at Joel
Indeed.
just to confirm that number. So the land is secured. Bill, what do you like most about this project?
Honestly, we did the discovery, and we have a bunch of boxes that we have to check. Oakview, as David mentioned, is a very important partner of ours. Is looking. They've got the major sport market captured. We're looking at secondary markets. So tactically, the area up here, the North Country, checked the boxes that we were looking for. Destination being one. But to be 100% candid, once we got up here, the people. We've got other projects of this kind going on at various stages, and the people of the North Country, the way they've embraced us, the way they've unwavering support, how can I help? Just uncanny, and sometimes, it was almost, because sometimes you get a little bit nervous. Not nervous is the wrong term, but when you're going into a community, you're an unknown commodity, and you're pushing something like this, somebody's nose may get out of joint because you're going to step on my toes. And we have not had, now there's been some people naturally that are like, oh, okay, tepid at best, but the overall feeling in the community of saying, hey, what can I do to help? How can we help you? Has been one of the most unbelievable feelings. Coach and I talk about that every time we leave here. It's like, it's amazing.
Do you think it's because it's boots on the ground that you guys are here and that you're eye to eye with people, shaking hands with people, and showing that you guys are here and you believe in it and you're investing in it?
I think that's a major part. I do think that's a major part, but I also think it's a makeup of the individuals up here, the family nature up here. And that's just something that Mike and I have talked about every time we leave here. It's like, man, it's unbelievable. And you get, some of the winters up here, right? It's like, okay, if we're going to run a tournament in January and we get slammed with something off the lake, how are we going to address that? And it's like, you know what? And then we fall back. We're like, we got the team. If we're extended, we've got the people. We're going to make that work. So it's that type of satisfaction and feeling on the background of things that it's really comforting to us, for lack of a better term.
My wife, I was packing, getting ready to come up here, and I was kind of whistling or whatever I was doing, and she said, "Oh, you're going up to your second family up there. They make you more happy than we do." I said, I said, no. I says, but they're good people, and as you said, the boots on the ground are huge. You have to have someone on the inside working for you. We've had those people up here, and I don't know if I've ever been received as well anywhere as we have been up here, and we've been up here a couple different times. So, is
there a second summer home in your future in the Thousand Islands?
Yeah, definitely.
Could
definitely.
happen.
That's in the works.
Who uses?
It'll be that facility.
Probably. You'll be there a lot. You'll be here when it's built. If it's built, I mean, you guys will be boots on the ground still after,
forth,
right?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I would imagine. You guys are hands-on with this stuff?
Oh, yes, very much so.
Who uses it? Because we talk about it's beyond the area. When you guys had to have done a study. You're just not throwing money at this. You got to know the numbers behind it, the facts behind it, and whomever wants to answer. But what kind of study did you do? What did it encompass, and why Thousand Islands? Why does that work? Is it because really nothing like this exists, Syracuse or beyond? Or why here?
Yeah, we helmed that initial work. We actually did it twice. We did it for Joel, town of Watertown, when he was trying to advance the project at that time. And then there was a kind of a lag, if you will. A few years went by. And he phoned and he said, I'd like to take another shot at this. And we said, okay, we've got to remeasure, if you will, the marketplace. But by then, we were aware of what was happening with organizations like MS2 and OVG, and we work with OVG actually around the country, and understood their secondary market interest. And so that, and that maturation of the multipurpose event center concept, which is designed to be all things, if you will, within the local context, to try and work with local operations, whether it's a YMCA or health clubs or what have you, to be synergistic. We said, let's measure it again from that point of view and see if, in fact, this could be a private initiative as opposed to another look at a public initiative. When we did that, we found that the trade area for this really was well into southern Ontario. And we went up and measured. We took a look at what was happening in facilities or not happening in facilities there. Doesn't mean people can't build facilities, but the natural flow from Ontario into the States, there was a real dearth, quite frankly. People were passing through the market. Unless they had a real reason to want to be in Thousand Islands, they were passing through and headed to New York or to other areas of the state. And there was if you will, a missed demand that we felt could be captured. I mean, people were driving to Syracuse Market. They're leaving here to drive to the Syracuse Market. And so we remeasured that and found out that we had about 5 million, a little pushing 5 million in terms of population within a natural trade area. And that's just with regard to what we call regional activity. But then you factor in what MS2 does, which is to create national level camps, clinics, and tournaments. For football, lacrosse, soccer, where you're bringing people from Michigan, the Midwest, the southern states, maybe even California. Because when you're putting people like Troy Aikman in a football camp, and you're talking to major college coaches involved, hockey as well, pick any sport, now you have an added draw. And we didn't have that before, because that model had not yet matured. So when we put the two together, we had a story, and it was a story that fit what they were after. And so we said, you should take a look at Watertown.
Well, let's learn a little bit more about what you guys do then in terms of those clinics, or who do you bring in? I mean, that sort of stuff that would happen here too. It's just not playing a hockey game or something. Some of the clinics would be happening, and could it bring in D1 coaches from different colleges or a pro football player? Is that the vision here as well, to have that component as part of this project?
Yes, and whether we bring them in or we send them the video of the player working out to help them recruit a player better with more information, that can happen as well. So I do think we're going to be in an evaluation process with some of the kids that will come see us, but also just a competitive process. I mean, there are so many sports out there right now on a competitive level, like that they maybe even haven't even understood or heard of. And one of them would be flag football. Flag football has taken off like there's no tomorrow. It's all over the United States, and it's all over this world. I think there's 20 million. I think it's now become an Olympic event. We should be able to attract and work with a number of players, girls and boys, who aspire to get a college scholarship or just be a better player on a team.
If I could jump in on that, it's more than just throwing a dart against a wall, though. I mean, from our point of view, with what we do, oh, this will be nice, or that will be nice. We do spend, and did spend in this project, of course, a lot of time to measure just what was possible. We work closely with MS2. What kind of camps would you create? What is realistically possible here? Clinics and tournaments. And it's a gradation of size and activity, and different times of the year. To make sure that we felt that the numbers that went into the projections were achievable. How many people could we expect? What other camps and clinics exist in the country? We're not, this would not be the only location. There are plenty of providers out there. So what were the differentiators that would make this location competitive? So it's a combination of the facility and its quality. I mean, it will do just about everything. It's the team here. I mean, former head coach of the Green Bay Packers helps a lot. But he also runs a junior hockey team, which is well regarded, one of the best in the country, and has access to soccer, lacrosse. It's a real panoply of activities that we felt, when measured in depth, could substantiate themselves here in a way that would provide ongoing revenue to support the facility. So that's a long way of saying that it's not a wish, it's not a hope, it's a plan. Now, we don't execute the plan, they do, but we've looked at it and vetted it, if you want to use that term.
One thing that we do have that I failed to mention, wasn't able to come on this trip up to the North Country, was Sean Quirk, who's a former head coach of the Boston Cannons and in lacrosse, and had been very successful there. And obviously up in this part of the country, lacrosse is a big deal, as it should be. It's one of the most rising, fastest growing sports there is. So we consider him to be a partner in this process, and it's unfortunate he couldn't come. Nancy Kerrigan is someone that we have talked to. So there's numerous people that we have talked to that we want to bring on board.
Well, that brings up something that's also worth mentioning, the academies. In addition to the camps, clinics, and tournaments, and the ongoing, by the way, opportunity for local rec teams to use the facility as well. It's not just aimed at the out-of-towner, if you will. It's aimed at the broad community and the need it has for space. Soccer is one area here locally that absolutely needs indoor space. And winter comes fast. What happens to the teams? Where do they play? You have 2 full indoor fields in this building. That's significant. People can continue doing what they want to do. But in addition to all of that, we have the academy model. And that's fairly new. It used to be there's just IMG Academy in Florida, you know, the one down at Disney World that was the considered to be the sports academy. Kids come, they actually live there, they study there, they learn their sport there. They also run an academy. This is in hockey. So we said, can we expand that to include hockey, football, soccer, figure skating? Figure skating is huge up here. Now, you have a very well-run, well-regarded Watertown Figure Skating Club. So that would be done in conjunction with whatever they're doing. But the idea is to create a residency for people in those select sports. Most likely lacrosse, hockey, soccer.
And they would stay in local hotels, or would they stay at the facility?
No, we would
have it at the facility.
We would have it at the facility because there's dorm space that's going to be included.
Have a housing component.
Housing component, and then create an education relationship with the local school system.
2 questions. How many people will it employ, not building it, but employ? And do you have a number as to how many visitors it would attract each year?
Yeah, we expect, in terms of employment, 49 full-time and 28 so-called induced jobs in the community. How many visitors? Right now, we're projecting a little over 300,000, of which about a quarter of those will need overnight stays.
Wow. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. We've talked about, the academy model's tremendously important to what we do. It gives us a nucleus and an infrastructure. We run a youth development, youth hockey and junior hockey program on Cape Cod, where we employ the academy model. This is going into our 7th year. Our league is the #1 placement of Division II, Division III NCAA players. This year we're going to crest 80 players pushing through into the NCAA portal. So extremely successful. We'll take that model and through Sean Quirk, we've also got a working relationship with Liverpool LFC. They want to follow that model as well. So that would all be stuff that we'd be looking to incorporate, as well as some of the things that are already going on up here. But in addition to that, we're talking the sports, the scholastic piece. We also have the event center, and the concert aspect of things, and it gives, Mr. Rich and Mike Campbell the opportunity. They do some work with Live Nation and whatnot, but it gives them an opportunity now to do some of their summer concert series at our location as well. So some growth perspective, some, magnetize and volumize, some of the things that they do.
How many can that seat?
9,000.
9,000.
So it's a big venue.
Yeah, it's just another aspect of trying to cover things holistically.
And it's flexible. The building, the key word about the building is its flexibility. So it can be right-sized, if you will, for the size concert that may be necessary. Maybe you don't need 9,000 seats. Maybe you need 5,000. So the seating is set up
so
that
you
it can
adjust it so it doesn't
can-
look like it's an empty venue compared to.
That's exactly
I get
right.
you. Yeah, the optics of it.
The one thing that Billy briefly mentioned was Live Nation. I mean, they're on board with us, and we're looking forward to having a relationship with them. They are the top entertainment collaborators in the business. So we're excited to be able to bring high-level talent, continue what's already here, but also bring high-level talent up here to the Thousand Oaks area.
Yeah. So I want to wind this down, but back to the funding part of it. If the governor's office came out tomorrow and said $20 million, we support this project, does this whole thing get a green light and it happens?
Put wheels on it, and then it gets to move.
Yeah.
We've done the work in the background to assess what's needed. In other words, there's a game plan ready to roll. The but-for money is the state money.
And you need to have a meeting, I would assume, with the administration in Albany. Is that happening? Have you asked for it?
We have, and we're waiting.
Waiting to hear back.
Yeah.
Last question. How excited are you about this? I mean,
Oh.
you guys just want to keep on pumping in more information. It sounds like you know the project, you seem excited about it, but I mean, you're itching for this to get done?
Yeah, and I think Billy hit it nail on the head. I mean, we're itching to get it done because we met a lot of people here, and they're excited about it. And they make us more passionate about this. And the people up here definitely have passion for this project, the people that we have talked to. I'm sure there are naysayers, as we said, but overall, there are people up here that are just very, very excited about the potential this project may bring. And there is one other component I just want to mention briefly is, you know, we're in a crazy epidemic of drug overdose, whatnot. I think here in the area, you have 13 drug overdoses in 2023, and that's not good. And this type of facility will give kids choices, better choices than maybe they have right now. And that is a motivating factor in my mind for us to build something like this in a place where people will use it and benefit from it greatly.
Mm-hmm. One follow-up on that, because many times if people see this $85 million project, it's going to be this beautiful facility. Maybe not everyone can afford to go there. Have you guys thought of that, or is there a component of this which is community outreach and support?
We're going to have a nonprofit side.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That will take care of all those situations.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for sitting down and talking with us and
Thank you.
describing the project.
Thank
It's
you.
exciting, and we appreciate the answers today.
Appreciate it.
Great
Thanks.
job.